Picture the universe a really, really long time ago. It's just empty. No planets, zero light. Just these massive, lazy clouds of simple gas kind of drifting in the absolute dark. Almost all of it is just hydrogen. But slowly, gravity starts doing its thing. It pulls these loose, wandering clouds together, squeezing them tighter and tighter. As it gets squeezed, the inside gets unbelievably hot, until finally it hits a breaking point and bam! A brand new star ignites right there in the pitch black. You can kind of look at these early stars like giant glowing pressure cookers just floating in space. They're constantly cooking up their simple gas into heavier stuff. The star cooks hydrogen into helium, which keeps things stable. But when the hydrogen runs out, the oven has to get way hotter. It upgrades to cooking helium into carbon, then oxygen, all the way to silicon. But then it cooks up iron. And iron is just super stubborn. The pressure cooker just can't handle it. The cooking stops. So all this iron just piles up in the core. Without that cooking energy pushing outward, the star loses all its juice. And when that happens, gravity instantly wins. The whole thing collapses inward at insane speeds, with all that outer stuff crashing straight down into that stubborn iron core. This massive crash triggers a completely blinding explosion, a supernova, violently throwing all those cooked-up star guts out into deep space. The crazy thing is, sometimes the very center of the star actually survives that explosion. It gets crushed down into a tiny neutron star. These things are impossibly heavy. Usually, they just chill alone in the cold. But occasionally, a pair is born together. They start circling each other, pulling closer and closer. It's exactly like two blindfolded heavyweight wrestlers locked in a deadly, inescapable dance, spinning faster and faster, warping space itself until they smash. It's a wildly violent crash, unleashing a shockwave with heat so crazy we can't even imagine it. Normal stars just aren't hot enough or violent enough to pull this off. During this split-second smash-up, tiny particles are forcefully shoved together. And in that chaotic fraction of a second, the universe spits out massive amounts of gold, enough to build entire planets, all created in just a heartbeat. The sheer force of that explosion blasts all this brand new treasure outward. It shoots right across the dark universe as scorching hot gold dust. And as it travels, it cools down, just drifting through the silent, cold emptiness for millions and millions of years. It just floats there, waiting. Eventually, this wandering gold dust bumps into a new cloud of gas, mixing in this recycled star stuff. Gravity pulls it together, our sun forms, and a spinning disk of rocks and gold dust starts clumping together to build planets. Earth was part of that brand new system. But early Earth was nothing like it is today. It was super hot, basically just a massive glowing ball of melted rock. And since heavy stuff naturally sinks, almost all that heavy gold dust sank straight down to the center of the planet. It's exactly like making a hot cup of cosmic cocoa, where all the richest, heaviest chocolate syrup completely sinks and settles right at the very bottom of your mug. Over time, Earth started to cool off. That glowing liquid hardened into the rocky crust we walk on today. But since all that heavy gold had already sunk to the bottom of the mug, the surface was totally empty. Earth basically hid all its shiny original treasure deep inside its core, completely out of reach. It honestly pulled a fast one on us. The gold seemed gone for good. But then, the universe hooked us up with a fresh delivery. Space sent a chaotic, violent shower of asteroids crashing straight into the Earth. And these rocks were absolutely packed with leftover metals. It was a wildly destructive bombardment, but it delivered a brand new batch of gold right to the surface. Since the crust was already hard and cool by now, the gold couldn't sink. It just stayed right up near the top. Over millions of years, the Earth shifted around in this crazy, slow, unhurried process. The ground folded and pushed up into massive mountain ranges. Deep underground, superheated water dissolved the gold and forcefully shoved it upward, stashing it away inside tight cracks and rocky veins. The gold was basically baked right into the mountains, just waiting in the dark all over again. Then came the water. Rivers and streams started washing over those new mountains. Slowly, almost beautifully, the rushing waters started breaking the hard rocks apart. As the mountains weathered down, those trapped veins of space metal were finally exposed. The water carefully washed these tiny, shiny yellow flakes out of the cracks and carried them right down into the cool, shallow streams.
And then somebody walked by. Humans eventually looked down into those streams and spotted these bright flakes just sitting there in the dirt. You can only imagine how wild that moment was. They found something straight up magical. It wasn't just another rock. It glowed in the mud like a tiny, captured piece of the sun. It totally stood out.
Humans quickly realized something mind-blowing about this stuff. It refuses to age. It literally never turns dull or grimy or gross. It never rusts. You could lose a piece of gold in the mud, leave it buried for centuries, and when someone digs it up, it comes out looking totally flawless. It holds on to this eternal shine that basically no other metal can pull off. Because of that impossible shine, people became completely obsessed. They pulled it from the rivers and started using it for their absolute favorite things. Golden crowns for kings, beautiful rings, rare coins. Soon enough, people were fighting epic, bloody battles just to decide who got to keep it. This shiny space dirt literally became the ultimate symbol of wealth and power across the entire globe. And it feels super weird in your hands too. It's surprisingly soft for metal. You can take a hammer and pound it flat, or stretch it into a long wire without it snapping, but at the same time, it is incredibly heavy. When you hold a solid piece of gold, it drags your hand down. It feels dense. It literally feels like power resting right in your palm. Today, we don't just use it for pretty rings. We figured out it's amazing at moving electricity super fast without ever corroding. So this impossibly ancient material, stuff born in the chaotic dark of the early universe, is now sitting quietly inside your smartphone. We put it inside computers. We even put it inside spaceships to help us travel back out into the very space where it was born. When you really stop and think about it, it's deeply wild. Every single piece of gold is staggeringly old. Older than the Earth. Older than the sun itself. If you're wearing a gold ring right now or holding a phone with gold in it, you are literally holding deep space history. You are holding a piece of a dead star that traveled an unimaginably long way just to be here with you. The universe had to work incredibly hard to forge it. It's not an easy recipe. A pair of massive stars had to live and die. Their crushed corpses had to find each other in the dark and smash together. And that crash had to be perfectly violent. If it was too weak, nothing happens. The explosion had to be exactly, terrifyingly right to create those shiny atoms. After that violent birth, the hot dust took this insanely lucky journey. It had to float through space, dodge black holes, and survive a chaotic asteroid shower just to land on our specific planet. It had to be pushed up into rocks and wait millions of years for a river to uncover it. All of that had to happen, just so someone could happen to walk by a stream, look down, and find it. Every tiny flake tells that same violent story, total destruction leading to amazing creation. That shiny yellow metal sitting in your jewelry box is actually frozen starfire. Gold is just a permanent memory of a cosmic crash. Makes you wonder what other secrets are hiding in plain sight around us, doesn't it? If you loved taking this cosmic journey with me, do me a huge favor. Hit that like button, share this with a friend who loves space, and subscribe for more. Catch you next time.